One winter's morning, James was waiting at a signal. He was pulling a slow goods train. Percy puffed alongside, pulling the post train. "Hello, James," whistled Percy. "Hello," whistled James. Then Percy's signal dropped. "Goodbye, James," said Percy, and puffed away. James was puzzled. "I was here first. Why do I have to wait?" he asked his driver. "The post train is more important than slow goods," said his driver. Later, when James had to stop for water, Thomas had got there first. "I have to go first," said Thomas. "I'm a guaranteed connection." "But I have to help Fergus with an important delivery," said James. "But I have to collect passengers and take them on my branch line," said Thomas. James was very disappointed. He didn't feel useful or important at all. Next morning, the Fat Controller came to see James. "James, I have a very important job for you," he said. "You are to collect coal from the coaling plant and deliver it to all the stations on the island. The passengers must be kept nice and warm, so be there on time." "Yes, sir," said James. "You can rely on me, sir." The Fat Controller drove away. James was pleased. "An important job at last," he smiled. "Rubbish," said Gordon. "It's just a load of coal." James was cross. "Nonsense! Coal is very important. Coal keeps passengers warm. It keeps the fires going. Keeping warm is very important," said James as he puffed away. James raced off to the coaling plant. He arrived on time and collected his coal trucks. He buffered up to them, then set off for his journey. James puffed over the steel bridge. He was looking forward to delivering his coal. "Now I am useful and important," he smiled as he went past the lighthouse. Then there was trouble. James started to slow down. He began to get hotter and hotter, and he couldn't go any faster. "Uh-oh," he puffed. "I don't feel well," and he had to stop. "Your water tanks have run dry," said his driver. "We're stuck." Just then Edward pulled alongside. He was pulling passengers. "Edward," said James, "please, can you push me to the water tower?" "I'm sorry, James," said Edward. "I'm running late with my passenger trains, but I'll get help for you from the next station." And Edward puffed away. James was very surprised. He was sure Edward would have been happy to help. Edward stopped at a signal box and told the signalman all about James. He telephoned for help, and soon Salty was on his way. He pulled up alongside. "What happened here, Biatty?" asked Salty. James felt silly. He didn't know what to say at all. "Don't worry, we'll have you loaded with water and on your way again." James was cross. "When I next see Edward, he owes me an apology." "What for?" asked Salty. "I asked him to help me get to the water tower," said James crossly. "I have important coal deliveries to make. I have to deliver coal to all the stations on the island." "Edward's job is important too," said Salty. "Mine's the most important," said James. "The coal must be delivered to the stations on time, otherwise the passengers won't be kept nice and warm." "Edward's passenger trains are important too. If he doesn't arrive on time, the passengers will complain and he'll get into trouble with the Fat Controller," said Salty crossly. James was very upset. Now he didn't feel like a really useful engine at all. Soon, thanks to Salty, James was filled up with water and he was on his way again. He had to make up for lost time. It was getting cold and the wind blew. James knew he had to hurry. James finished all his deliveries just in time, and all the fires in the stations were kept nice and warm and well lit. The passengers were very happy. Thanks to James, they were as warm as toast. The next morning, the fat controller came to see James. He was very pleased with him. "Well done, James," said the fat controller. "You delivered all your coal on time." James was pleased, but he still felt very upset. "What's the matter, James?" asked the fat controller.
"I don't feel really useful at all, sir,"
said James.
"Everyone else's work seems more important than mine."
He told the fat controller about Percy's post train, Thomas's guaranteed connection, and Edward's passengers, and all the jobs James did recently. The fat controller smiled. "James, your jobs are just as important as any other engines," he said. "Your coal deliveries were very important, and I am very proud of you. The passengers are all pleased with you, and thanks to you the station fires were kept alight, and everyone was as warm as toast. You, James, are indeed a really useful engine." James was very happy.
"Thank you, sir,"
he smiled happily. And James had learnt that even though his friend's work was important, he knew that his work was important too.